I'm hearing myself in my ear 1,000 times. What I'm worried about. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
I think I need to plug back on that now. Do this. There we go. That's much better. I look to my right every now and then to see my tablet to kind of jump on board with what I have going on. So let me create this link because the link doesn't change, Dele.
Oh, I know. I know that. Like I said, unless they know to go look for the old email with the link, they'll probably be just looking around. But that's what I did. I just went to find the old link.
I'll send it to them. I have a lot of stuff to kind of clean up on this site of mine. And I see Mr. G is sitting in here. So we have a couple of minutes and I'll put this out like I always do. I'm not an attorney. I don't have a license to practice law. I do not practice law. What I've done is study the law based upon my experiences, and I share those experiences with the general public. So I don't give you any information as advice to apply to your specific case, but it's general information regarding the law and lawful principles, which, by the way, belong to the people. To use any information obtained under fair use and for educational edification only. And the reason I say that is because I want nothing I say to be construed to be legal advice. If you feel you need legal advice, I highly encourage you to hire a licensed and hopefully competent attorney and be legally advised. And with that being said, I say nothing disparaging about attorneys. We all have our unique set of interactions with attorneys. And so whatever your interaction may be is yours. So with that being said, let's get down to business. Daly, you have anything you want to cover before we jump into the show's topic of why you must, and I shouldn't say must, but why you should, what it probably should have said, respond to all child support agency letters? Do you have anything you want to add just in general?
Yeah, I think in general is just understanding that the landscape of what you're walking into when you walk into these, at least the lower courts, to start out your case, that there is going to be resistance to a degree. I'm going through that right now, with the outcome of my contempt hearing. But controlling your emotions, understanding the issues and how to address it is something that you need to understand, because this is not just, you're not just going to file anything, just walk in and they're going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to let you go. It's going to be a journey and you got to be ready for that too. So
here's something, and I know I've asked this before because I'm extremely concerned about it, because a lot of guys are coming back looking like almost like they're in shell shock. And that's not to make light of many of us, many veterans who are suffering from that. But it's like I'm listening to them and I'm like, wow, how do I help these guys get to a better place in general? And did I explain to them that I kind of got to where I was, not kind of, I got to where I was based upon the number of rejections that I had. Is there anything that I'm missing in that, Kaylin?
no.
We know of a couple of our buddies that had their head kind of slapped a little bit lately. And I wouldn't say slapped, because there's a lot going on when it comes to child support. And I don't want to get into the discussions about these judges get paid from that's probably an underlying issue that if you're going to make that argument, you have to be able to substantiate it. I don't care what you pick up and pull up somewhere else, but you're going to want to have to show where that situation affected your outcome. Otherwise, you're just, for lack of better terms, you're whining over something that's not going to get you anywhere. And we got some cats starting to come in. What's up, DB? I see you popping in. But am I making sense in that regard, Dele?
100%, 100%.
I just want I don't want people spending too much time talking about things that don't really matter. Uh, and also, I want to say for those who are new to whatever we have going on, whatever I have going on, there are I don't know because I don't even know who came on first. DB, when was your first? Were you on the very first episode, DB, or did you come on after we got rolling like Daily did?
Oh, I came on like the second or third. I can't remember exactly.
Okay, because I'm trying to find out which one it was, but we've discussed on this show that we don't let things come in the mail without responding to them. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that put it back in the mail thing, and I'm not going to say any names, but anybody who tells you to put something in the mail and not respond, they're not very informed, and you would be out of your mind because it will not stop the machinery from rolling. The best way to deal with anything is to confront it. From my experiences, I'm not giving you legal advice, but if anybody can tell me that by not confronting it, you got what you wanted, I like to be able to, I would like for you to come on and explain it to us with specificity and details without you having to divulge any privacy issues, and let us see how that's working. Because what I'm finding out is there's a whole lot of guys that talk real good, but when you look or you peer behind the truthfulness of it and get outside the rhetoric and the acronyms and what have you, there's no substance to it. None. And by 2025, if a person has done anything and had any success, there's going to be a record of it. And that's the bottom line. As we wait for the other guys to come in, I'm getting ready to send everybody that I know the link. Daily, tell them about your the what's that link for? The Telegram link thing.
Oh, for the group chat, if you want to, send messages offline and things like that, a bunch of guys are in there. You can post things, ask questions and whatnot. And, for the most part, people can jump on and assist as we can. Kind of like a group where we could kind of have our own discussions offline.
And
I'll try to put that in the chat too.
Are people participating in that, by the way?
I would say minimal participation. I know BA does. I do from time to time if I find things like I think we did. What we discussed, like one of the Iraq methods in there. So,
okay, yeah, take advantage of these opportunities, and there's plenty of guys that are starting to get their feet wet, so to speak, with and getting some real courtroom reps in, and that's that's the only place I've ever known that a person can go and get a pretty decent outcome. I've never, and I'm snatching off my glasses, even though they're not on now, never seen anybody win a battle waving around paperwork. So, with that being said, how's everything going with you, DB, and in your area? And DB, you always share some pretty unique information. You have anything you want to add before we get into why people must respond to their paperwork?
Nah, man, let's go straight into it.
Okay. I got our resident certified accountant coming in. What's good, Rick? Thanks for joining us. If you're there, Rick, you might.
Hey, hey.
What's good? What's good? Yeah, I think I should have probably put that. I'm sending out the link for everybody to join the show via the Zoom. But yeah, I was talking. We had a guy call, and he's actually on. I'm gonna kind of share a little bit of his story without divulging. Hopefully, too. We can divulge what he wants to, but you don't have to give us everything. But he had a situation where there's a garnishment involved with his situation, and it's pretty unique. So, you have anything you want to add, Rick, or tell the guys about before I get into the show? As I wait for everybody to come on, I didn't realize that I didn't put the link in there for the show.
Yeah, nothing much, man. I'd love to hear the scenario of what's going on, and I guess just real quick, my background is finance and accounting and auditing. So, if there is a mistake in the calculation, we can talk through it and hopefully figure that out.
Cool, cool. Yeah, because and also, well, I guess it'd be up for the person and hopefully their attorney. If not their attorney, they would like for my assistance in identifying some of the underlying issues we can get with it. That being said, hey, Mr. George, how's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm a lot better than you. You want to kind of give the people who are listening, and I'm only making light because I was pretty frustrated to hear what you said today, and a couple of the guys that heard were just kind of taken aback by your scenario. But you want to tell everybody pretty much where we are right now?
Well, basically, yeah, I got an email today from my bank, and the bank email said that my account has been levied, and I don't have access to it no more. So basically, child support control the account right now. Um, I got about 8K in account, and I can't get anything back from there. I spoke to child support because on the email letter it gave me the child support number and also the case number. So I called child support. They told me the options I can do. They told me either I can consent with the levy today and they'll take everything out of account and they'll give me my account back. But if I consent today, then you're gonna give me my account back on zero. Or I can do a petition with the court or do administrative hearing and see if we can work something out. So I mean, that's basically where we at right now. Basically, I'm pretty much asked out now. They that's all the money I got in my name is the 8K. So right now I don't have nothing out here right now. So and I'm trying to figure out what I need to do um to at least try to get my money back because I'm not going to consent to it. I'm not going to call them up and say, okay, I consent and you take it right now. I'm not going to do that.
They've
So
already taken the money, so
I mean,
they've already taken the money. And unfortunately, here's where part of the problem steps into. I mean, when people run into these problems, what should have happened at some point in your process is somebody. I mean, they should have sent some sort of correspondence to you in the mail, and that
right,
it was called a letter of intent to levy.
right.
And when there's a letter of intent, you have 14 days or so to respond to that letter of intent, and it'll tell you exactly what process you should go through. What I'm gathering did not happen is you didn't respond and to the letter, and they just moved forward and they um
Well, here's the thing, Doss. I did get a letter attempt like some months back. I'm gonna say this was like I got a letter attempt probably like in April or May of last year, and I did respond it back. I responded back with no, I don't I do not consent with this levy. I disagree because it did say I have 14 days to respond. So I responded back, told them I disagree with it. I don't this is not right. This is not true. Whatever. I don't owe this and everything like that. So when I did respond to it, and after that, I spoke to them over the phone, and they got my response, and they didn't levy the account. They didn't levy the account. So I'm thinking, so they didn't levy the account. I'm thinking everything over. Now fast forward to February 12th, the account get levied almost a year later, and I'm like, I respond to you guys. I didn't agree with you guys. I didn't agree with what I didn't give you consent to do that. You know, but like I said, a year later, almost a year later, they levied the account. So I don't think that's right. To do something like that. You know what I mean? Just especially leave a man ass out. And I still got other kids out here I need to take care of that live with me. So and for you to take everything like that, it's just crazy, man. It's crazy.
you before I respond to that, you have anything you had something you wanted to add, DB?
Yeah, real quick. Similar situation, and Greg, I'm in agreement with you regarding the letter of intent, right? That notice of intent. again, similar situation, but absent the letter of intent and going straight into the levy process, right? And so with me addressing that, right, I responded and requested,
I'm hearing
you
that.
know, requested the records. And you know how they do. You know, so now it's that ping pong match, back and forth thing, right? So like is now it's just it's frustrating to say the least. You know what I mean? It's very frustrating because again, as you stress, like these people are professionals, so you can't go in there and address them at a low level. You got to be prepared for this shit, right? So now it's what do you do next? How do you respond? But no, you got to know. Like for instance, myself, I know for a fact which statutes apply to my situation and my issue, right? I know what my issue is. I know what statutes apply to the application, the rule. So I'm just going to address it accordingly. So I guess I'm saying this more or less for my man that just spoke is like put your nose in the books, know exactly what your issue is, find the rule, and hold their ass to the fire.
Right, right, most definitely.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm about to share the rule with you. I'm trying to get these things out.
But I mean, I had a question even with the rule because if you're going to identify the issue, my question that comes to mind is, what triggered the the need for the whole payment of the arrears? Like, or there even payments missed? You know, where there was there a time sharing? You know, did you miss some time? You know, because I'm assuming now I don't know what state. I think it was Florida. I end up figuring out
Florida,
that
right?
Yeah,
yeah, but
Florida.
you know, what would trigger the need to pay the entirety of the arrears right now?
I asked that same question. Like I also spoke to Doss. Like I just gave him a 15K check in October. That was a few months ago. So that was 15K right there. And then I'm saying the same thing. What trigger a few months later you put a levy on it when you just got 15K in October?
Right.
Huh.
I mean, I'm assuming, have you given some kind of financial affidavit to them and say, hey, this is what I make? Because then again, the question is there reasonable to even expect anybody with a certain level of income to pay you 15K, one, and then within a certain amount of months, again, expect another 8K?
Right.
Right? Because the issue now is like, it's what they're even doing. Is it even reasonable?
Exactly. Exactly.
Y'all could be new edition where y'all all answer that, but I think a part of it is I don't want to get too close into some of that, but let's get to the issue at hand. So let me pull up and go to our famous Google machine. We'll just pull up where we're supposed to be when it comes to
Are
this.
you sharing your screen? Because
Yeah, I'm getting ready to right now. I had to
okay.
close down so much stuff because I've been actually working on some other stuff, and I'll probably get into things like the appellate process and why it's important to have court reporters.
They came into this town, Rosewood.
Hold on. Shout out to my bag for that. Shout out to our friend Taisha Scott reporting for being willing to provide the guys with court reporters. And you want that transcript, but let's get here. So can we see my Google machine?
Yeah.
Yes.
What do y'all see? 61.1354 Florida?
Yes.
There we go. When there was an issue of a dispute, this statute here, 61.1354, is what allows you to dispute the that would allow you to dispute the amount of the levy. They should have sent you something, and that would have given you exactly where you go in to dispute the levy. You are looking at case text now, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Right. So that's where the first place you should have started is how do you go about disputing it? And without me looking at the letter, I've seen levy letters, but if you have really any issue in the state of Florida, the first place I would go is chapter 61. There's like 409, 309, but on whatever it is they're saying that they're going to do what they're doing to you, it's going to state like something to the effect like pursuant to this statute, the Florida statute, this, we're going to do that. Go directly to the statute. Make sure that whatever they're trying to do is within conformity with the statute, and then just contest it. And we know we've done so many motions to contest levies. In fact, I'm sure there's one somewhere around here. I'll look it up on my side screen. But when people say we talk to and we write a letter and talking to these people is not going to help you. You want to file something within whatever agency. If you're in a state that has administrative process for it, you have to look up the rules in your state to find out, okay, do you file it with the administrative agency and they'll give you an administrative hearing, do whatever that process is. For the guys in Florida, which would be myself and I guess only Rick here, and even because I think in New York y'all have that issue, that kind of case too, but it goes directly to the Brett's actually from Florida too. And by the way, glad to see you back, Brett. You doing okay, man? I know you're probably working. Good to have our man Brett back on.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. But yeah, in Florida, you file, if you have an administrative issue, you just file it in the circuit court, and they're going to hear the administrative issue. From there, depending on how it goes, and I'm only speaking to how the statute would work, then you would know what your appellate process is. Another thing in Florida allows you to file what's called a motion for a superseding order. So although circuit courts typically don't have any authority or jurisdiction over administrative matters, the circuit court can issue an order that essentially sets aside the administrative order or the administrative agency's doings. It's just a matter of process. You going to say something, Rick?
No.
Okay.
No, I know I'm kind of going through what you're talking about right now.
Right. So you want to make sure that you follow the process. Maxine, I'm sorry, Maxine is also in Florida. Actually, got quite a few Florida people. This is the first time in a long time that we've had this many Florida guys come in. And interestingly enough, George, your case is in Florida as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so candidly, Florida guys have no excuse because you all have not just me. Well, he hasn't showed himself for that side yet, but you have Daly, but you have Brett. Rick is very familiar with Florida. Rick in Florida is very familiar with the Florida process, and we can kind of get through it. I'm becoming more familiar with New York, and I know JC is in New York and TJ is in New York. We have a TJ in New York who's gone through their process, and their process is, it's unique, but there seems to be a path forward or a road toward a remedy. So, but what I want to talk about is making sure that you respond, guys, because what you don't want to have happen is what I'm guessing might have happened in your case, George. You might have called them, and I don't know. Has anybody ever made it? You can raise your hand or you can speak. Anybody ever called anybody to get something resolved? So I've never done that.
I have. It didn't get resolved. Long story short.
Okay. Rick, DB, anybody else ever just called them? Or is everybody like Brett? You always file something, correct? Or have you ever tried to call any of the agents?
I talk to those people as little as possible. I file paperwork and show up at the hearings.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know where speaking to them is going to resolve your matter. The only thing it's going to resolve is there's going to have to be some sort of proceeding based upon my experiences. I'm not saying that you can't probably get something done by making a what do you call those things? An agreement with these people. That's not what I would suggest, so to speak. Unless it's something that you are going to be happy with. Maxime said, yeah, calling never works. I just wouldn't do it. And at this point where you are, Mr. George, I would be really frustrated because if I'm correct, if you don't mind me saying, aren't your children emancipated?
Yes, the ones I'm on child support for, yes, they are.
So let me get this straight. For the sake of the people out here, your children are emancipated and you are making arrears payments.
Yes.
I'm extremely confused. Without looking at what you're filing, I don't I don't understand how they just went through without any process at all. It just doesn't make sense. And if they've all so they've filed, they've essentially frozen your account. Is that what I'm getting?
Exactly, yes. They say they froze it, and after 45 days, the money will get sent to them if I don't do nothing within 45 days or so within that time period. And they'll go ahead and just take the money.
So for 45 days, you have to survive without your bank account.
Exactly.
Let me ask you a question. Do you have direct deposit going into that account?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I can't tell you what I'm. I need a question. A question is what I would need from you. But okay, there you go. Hold on, we got.
What would you do?
Yeah, what would you do in this
If it was
situation?
you? Yeah.
First thing I do is contact me, or no, first thing I do is contact an attorney. Contact an attorney.
Don't you mean Johnny Cochran?
Hey, don't hate me because don't hate me because one of JC's New York magistrates called it Johnny Cochran style paperwork. I took it as a compliment. But hey, what it is. What's going on, Rick? Texas.
What up, though?
Hey, good to hear you feeling better too, man. I was worried about a few of you guys, man. Y'all caught that bug.
Yeah, man, I lost my voice for damn near a month. Running around here sounding like Kermit the Frog.
Uh-oh, something just happened. I lost it. Okay, yeah. So you had a comment that you wanted to make to our man George.
Nah, I was just gonna basically ask what would you do and tell him stop the direct deposit.
That's one option. I don't know. There used to be a rule, I believe, that said something to the extent that they could only garnish you like that particular account like one time. So I don't know, but I'm troubled at the idea that your children are emancipated.
Mm-hmm.
Your support is current, even your arrears amount is current, and you gave them a check for $15,000, and they still garnished the. I'm trying to think what would be
Exactly.
what would be the basis for them garnishing the account.
Exactly, man. I'm lost too for words, man. I don't know.
Yeah, so I would just, if it were me, I would contact an attorney, and if you couldn't afford the attorney, then I would absolutely reach out to somebody who might be able to guide you in a direction to get you some better answers. And I
Right.
give you legal advice, but I'm sure we could probably find out where the issue is. That's incredible to me. How you know why I'm asking? How old are the children? When did they emancipate? When did the first?
Well, this case is just for one child here, and she just turned 18 last year September.
So nine, not she turned 18, 9/24.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a time sharing agreement?
No, I didn't have any timeshare agreement.
So you were never married?
No, not at all.
Not to her mother, at least. Okay.
No, not at all.
What's the date of the action? Like when did the action begin with this child?
When she was 4 years old. It started when she was 4 years old.
So she turned 18. So she's born in 2006.
Yeah, 2006. Yep.
So the case started in 2010.
Exactly. Yep.
And it was administrative the whole time.
Yes, it was administrative. Yes.
Did you attend the original hearing to establish your support?
I did attend the original hearing. I actually did.
Hold on,
Yeah,
that's enough. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did you turn in a financial affidavit?
I did all that. Yep, I
Did the
did all.
did the mother do that?
Uh, yeah, she did that too. She turned that in too. Yep,
But y'all had no time sharing agreement.
no time share. No.
What county is this again?
Indian River.
Did the mother receive any kind of aid from the state?
She did. In the beginning, yes, she did.
Would you have known why? Like, was she like under poverty level at the time? And were you under poverty level at the time? Those two different questions,
Uh,
two separate questions.
yeah, she was in a poverty level. Also, I was also too.
It's interesting. So, is it possible that at the time your order was established, you too would have been eligible for some sort of government assistance?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. It's something to look at. Anybody here have anything y'all want to add? It's a bizarre situation. And I'm trying to think, and depending on, have you ever had before the other guys come in, have you had what's it called when what's it called, Brett, every 3 years? Um,
Living cost adjustment.
yeah, did y'all ever go through any of this?
No, we never did that. Not at all.
So the amount that you pay now is the same amount that they established in 2010?
The same amount. It's 500 a month. Yep, that's what happened in 2010. It was always 500 a month.
Whoa, wait, hold on. You're not at poverty level paying $500 a month for one child.
Listen, I said all that in the court when they told me I had to pay 500 a month back in 2010. I'm like,
What's the
what?
exact amount?
The exact amount?
Yeah,
But the exact amount is 470 a month, and $30 go to arrears. So altogether, 500 a month.
but let me ask you a question. What arrears would you have had if the mother started the case in 2010? Did they go back to 2008?
They did. They went back. Yep.
Okay, did they establish that in 2008 you had an obligation?
I don't think they did. No.
Okay, well, let me try this. What facts did they use to determine that your obligation began in 2008?
I have no idea, Greg. Back in 2008, 2010, I was like really wet ears with this child support thing. I ain't know nothing about it. I didn't know how it worked.
It seems like you might still be there in 2025, but um, yeah, I would definitely want to look at that, and I'm almost positive. And Brett,
Oh,
let me ask you
Greg,
a question also.
Greg, do you
Yeah,
mind if I jump in? I guess the better question would be: did the mother allege anything in regards to you not being around since 2008 or whatnot, or make any just
yeah,
allegations?
yeah, she did make that allegation. First, let me tell you what really happened. She said, she didn't know where I was. That's the thing she told them. So, which was a lie. You know what I mean? But you know how these.
that has nothing to do with why you would have an obligation.
Okay.
Like in
Well, I
other
mean,
words,
I guess
what, in
she
Florida
could.
they don't do that. They don't do that kind of a petition. I don't believe in Florida for administrative cases daily, where they make the petition look like a standard marriage, divorce, or something like where they would state a cause of action. I don't believe they do that in administrative cases. I believe they just sent you like a letter, and from the letter they just brought you in, correct?
Yeah, they did send me a letter. Right.
But they didn't send you. They didn't petition the court for something that you could have answered, correct?
Right.
Did you pay?
Yeah, I think the thing I was trying to get at that in Minnesota, I know that she can allege that he had abandoned the child.
That doesn't work in Florida.
Okay, got it.
Now this is what I really he brought to my attention when Brett is. Let me ask you this question, George. Did you ever pay insurance for this child?
No, I never paid insurance. Not at all.
So
No.
the child has been on public assistance for this entire time?
Um, I know in the beginning she'd been on public assistance, and I think her mother ended up putting her on her insurance after the child support payments started coming and everything like that. And so she ended up going on her mother insurance at that time.
Was the mother working somewhere? Because Obamacare came out in what year? 2008, right? 2010. When was the first time Affordable Care Act came into play? We looked that up, but I guess Rick, you wanted to say something? Florida.
Yeah, I had a question on time sharing, because a lot of times that also kind of dictates what the payment amounts will be. So with the time sharing, what type of agreement was it for time sharing, or did the mother just have the child 100% of the time?
The mother had the child most of the time. I only had the child during like holidays and stuff because we live in two different counties. Like the mother stayed in Vero Beach, and
Okay.
I stayed in in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So that's almost a
Okay.
2 hour drive
Yeah.
like that. So she had the child most of the time, and I had the child doing like the
Did they
holidays and
did
stuff.
they just
Yeah.
was that discussed during any of the hearings?
No, that wasn't discussed at all during the hearing. Not at all.
Then
Yeah. So that's a fundamental issue
yes.
right there.
But Affordable Care Act established 2010.
Okay. Because what I'm wondering is with I don't like to speculate at all. I guess we could all see it. I'm pretty sure by now most of the guys on this call, in fact, looking at the ones I can definitely see, at least 8 or 9 of us could sit there and look at your case and say, okay, there may be, like Rick said, it's a fundamental issue. I'm just trying to figure out how to get a guy that's making poverty level. Can you remember what you were making hourly back in 2010?
2010, I was I was probably making. I can tell you what I was bringing home. I was bringing home maybe about 2010, probably about $400 to $500 a week.
So they took 130. They took 130 of your money after taxes.
Right, correct. Yeah.
I might have the wrong number, Rick. What amount is that? If he's making so roughly you weren't even making 30,000 a year, correct?
Right.
12.50 an hour.
So you weren't making 30,000 a year, but you were paying roughly 6,000. Yeah.
6,000 a year with on child support.
26K.
Do you have any other children? You have any other children at the time?
Exactly, I did. Yeah.
So this daughter is not the oldest.
No, she's not the oldest. No. I have other daughters that's 29 years old, 27 years old. So I have other daughters that's older than her.
You had a daughter at the time that was 11, and a daughter that would have been 9 at the time.
Correct.
And are you paying support for those two?
No.
Okay, but you had were you married to their mother?
No, I wasn't married to their mother. No.
There just seems to be some factors that, just listening to your situation, that would have been necessary to be considered. And even if you and the other mother had a agreement between the two of you, they still would have had to factor in the other daughters. Exactly.
Right.
But that would have been up to you to ensure that they did. And if they didn't do it, then, go through the process of appealing and what have you. I think your situation is pretty much where it is. I didn't know they're going to hold it for 45 days. But if it were me, I definitely want to get on top of that. And probably you might be entitled to some sort of credit as well.
That's what I was thinking, the same thing too.
Might have been a significant overpayment, even if it was in the beginning. And
right.
Well, I mean, in Florida, miscalculation of child support is a fundamental error, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. No,
yeah.
But I don't want to say that that's what happened without seeing it. I've never seen anything he has.
Right.
But just from a general perspective, we all know that 12.285, the financial affidavits, and we know about its fundamental error. Let's do this. You also looking at the screen, the case text thing?
No.
No.
Do this. What we got right there?
Case text.
Yeah, find the case.
But from what I learned from you and Brett, so did you ever cover the other two girls on your for your yeah.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I don't know. Brett, you got anything to say about any of this, Brett? I know you might be working where you are, but
Well, I mean, obviously they got to factor in the other children if he's paying for those, but it sounds like there might have been an age difference that could have prevented that. Was there ever an overlap?
Yeah, he said, because I'm thinking that at the time they started this case, one was 11 and one was 9.
Oh,
Correct.
okay. Yeah. I mean, they should have certainly taken the other children into account and given you credit for that as part of the calculation process. But I mean, based on my case, and me showing them how it's supposed to be done and fighting them tooth and nail, what I've discovered is I don't think I'm not sure that it's ever going to be done correctly, but that's my 2 cents.
But you can see based upon the writing of the law and the statute where the error would be easily identified, correct?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the statutes are clear. They can't deviate, and they must accommodate any additional children that you have. So, um, anytime there was a change there, they would have had to modify that. But you might have had to, could have been your burden to bring it to their attention to make those modifications.
Correct.
And even if it was his burden, the hearing officer or whomever did the case had a duty to ensure that the facts were present for them. It was a competent, substantial evidence, findings of facts, and the conclusions of law that would have led to that amount. And I'm sure they would have asked him, you have any other children? I'm not sure. I shouldn't be sure of any damn thing with these people. But you had to ask, do you have any children? And can you all see the screen right now with the Feliciano case, which I know you all heard me cite before? Did you see the Feliciano case?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't you read that for us, George? The highlighted section.
Hold on. Let me blow it up. However, notwithstanding an appellate failure to participate in the proceeding, the improper calculation of child support obligation amount pursuant to the child support guidelines is fundamental error that may be raised at any time.
And that's a key word there. At any time.
At any time. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know that this would be. I mean, we could definitely. I think we've all already spotted the issue, the calculating part. That's somebody. We have a software guy in Dele. You got the engineer in Brett, but you have a financial guy in Rick, and that's what we're trying to come together to find out how we can show these numbers, because the miscalculations we know they're there. We know that there's fundamental errors, but what we had to get to is people doing what's necessary so that we can pinpoint with laser precision exactly what the dollar amount is. I'm almost positive you go for paid by a hefty sum.
Absolutely.
No, I'm not just saying it because it makes you feel good. I don't care how you feel. I'm just looking at
No.
facts.
No, right. And I'm going to address that also. I'm definitely going to address that now.
Yeah.
Because I can see that now.
Now, as to let's try this. Let me come out of this screen. Are you all looking at Google?
Yes.
Yes.
I never had to go to the devil for information. We'll take a look at it. Let's try this. Okay, we don't care about that. I don't want that stuff there. No, we don't do that either. Keep going into here. There's gonna probably be some. Let's see this process. Can you see that, Rick? I mean, not Rick. George.
Yeah, I can see that.
What does it say?
It's a hold on. You going up? All right. Say contest the action by filing a petition in the circuit court or by filing a petition for an administrative hearing with the Department of Deputy Agency Clerk.
Department's deputy agency clerk.
Right. And you know what? And that's what, when I spoke to the child support people today, that's what they told me, that exact same thing right there.
About filing a petition in the circuit court?
Yeah, with the deputy agency clerk. Yep. They told me that because I wrote it down, and that's what they told me also.
They didn't say it's filed within the circuit itself.
He said I can do that too. He gave me different options. He gave me different options.
I'm pulling up something as we're talking. Anybody want to add anything while I'm pulling up something for this guy? Petition 2. You actually want to lift the levy.
So, Greg, I found two new case laws that are pretty current and also maybe applicable to the situation there in my folder.
Okay.
One is Olson and the other one is Schlimbaum.
You want to elaborate for the people listening before I step away?
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me find the references for you. Basically, Olson says that they have to follow the statute and in the calculations, which we've already seen in the other reference that Greg gave you, but it's always good to have multiple. And then let's see. Schlimbaum. It's Schlimbaum's a 2024 case, and this one is of interest to me because I've been telling these guys that my orders have been void since the beginning because they didn't follow the statute.
What's the pin site? You got a pin site for me?
You mean for Schlimbaum? Yeah. So 394 South 3rd, 1157.
My fault. I thought I was typing somewhere else. 394 SO.
It's in my folder too. But it says where a final judgment is void, the trial court has no discretion. And is judgment.
Yeah. So I think you have some procedural issues, and I think you also would have potentially evidence issues for your case, Mr. George. Let me see. I think I might have found one that we've done before. Let me do some redaction.
Yeah, Olson touches on evidence too, Greg. It says they have to use the evidence on record.
Right.
Not that they follow the law, but
the views and opinions don't necessarily expose Greg Doss or G non-attorney pro se consultants. Good Jesus. Or the show. Man.
I had to make sure you made that statement, Greg. I'm trying to help you out.
Yeah. So let's try to do this real quick and I'll do all that. Okay, so let's see here. Let me try to pull up. Let me show you. And this is a pretty old one. I think this might have been the one where we got our I think this might be the one. Let me try this. This is one, and I've told you all that G got his case kind of tossed out, but you might want a motion to challenge his levy or receive credits or something to that degree. And this is not legal advice. This is something that was done way back. This is actually done in probably, I don't even know what year it was. 2017. Okay. So that's done. I'm trying to find one that I could let you. Oh, think I found it. No, motion to petition to challenge Levy, to lift Levy. And actually, they actually have something here in Florida that I might be able to put in here to the chat room for you. So let me stop the screen sharing and let me slide this into the chat. You might be able to use this.
Okay.
Is it in there now? Y'all got that?
Yep, it's in there.
That's something you can utilize, but I have a couple of them. Because I know some of us are familiar with the infamous line from Mr. Kevin talking to Denton, but he done that as well a little bit late. He kind of went a little bit off course. But I just think that you have some definitive, based on what I've heard. I haven't seen anything, but based upon what I've heard, and also the miscalculation, and any statutory deviance in Florida, at least, opens up the door for you to challenge it.
Okay.
I hope this show has helped you a little bit with that.
It has, man. I appreciate it so much.
Ain't no problem, man. Stay with it. The other thing probably for next week would be to discuss this idea of not answering mail and putting mail back in the mailbox. Stop that goofy shit, man. It's hard enough when you're doing the right thing to get something to get relief. Don't waste your time doing things that don't make any sense. And hopefully that makes sense to you. And anybody listening, I'm not talking to you specifically, but anybody listening, hopefully it makes sense. Any of these guys that tell you that you can win a case with paperwork alone, I got a couple of guys in here who've been in the courtroom. That ain't gonna happen. So let's take a much more adult approach to getting remedy. With that being said, anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments before I wrap it up and start enjoying this portion of things that I have going on? And by the way, I did get an extension of time to file my appeal in the second DCA. I'm still waiting for the 11th Circuit to give me some kind of ruling on what to do with my case in the federal courts. But I did move to get a copy of these my transcripts for my hearing. That's involving the Tuckers, and then that's State Farm, Shem, Austin Road, Baskel, and the United States government. In fact, I've already filed a lawsuit and got my stuff back, so I need to serve copies of my lawsuit on those entities, just to give you a heads up on where I am right now with some things that I'm doing. So, but anybody else got anything they want to add before I get out of here?
Yeah, I got a quick question. I stepped away for a minute, so I know it was asked. But without giving the gentleman, legal advice, can you speak to kind of what avenues in general someone can use to address something like this? Because I know he's kind of asked out, right? Like, this is my last buck. How do I get in front of this? I know in Minnesota, if it were me, one of the avenues I could go to is a modification hearing, which is expedited, meaning that has to be done in at least 30 days.
Emergency hearing.
Correct.
To lift the levy and then state the basis. If it were
correct,
he could file an emergency motion to lift the levy and have the circuit and ask the circuit court for an order lifting the levy and just state the facts you've given us. You just paid him $15,000 in October. What's that? 4 months ago. And if I'm
right,
did you file your income tax yet?
This year, no, I didn't file it yet.
Okay. Did they take your income tax last year?
They sure did.
Let me ask you this question. I may have missed this for some reason. Have you ever had an updated calculation of what you actually owe?
Never did, Greg. Never did.
And for those out there listening, I think Brett just said it. I don't know if it's up to them to raise these issues, but I believe you have every opportunity to raise any number of issues, guys, when it comes to the calculation of your child support. Yes.
Yeah, I would be checking behind if I were you, and I would be raising it with the court. I thought they had to, they couldn't just force you to pay it lump sum. I thought they had to give you an opportunity to pay it over time.
Yeah, I would have thought that that'd be part of the process also because they had to base it upon a set of facts that would have allowed them to conclude that you can just give up any amount of monies beyond what is already owed. But from what I'm hearing, you're current. That's just wild.
Yeah, and based on what he was saying is, he's supposed to pay $30 of arrears per month.
That's
I do understand with the
as long as he caught up though, right? Once he caught up with the arrears, then that would go away, right?
correct, and as long as he has arrears, of course, um, the income tax refund would be, garnished or just go straight to the state. But I've just never heard of, the account being levied that way when you are current on your arrears. Well, meaning you're making your payments from the arrears.
Well, at least in Minnesota, they can't just garnish the income, the tax income, because that's what I'm going through. Because the courts put out a formula for me to repay that arrears. As long as I'm current with that, there is no need for enforcement on top of that. Meaning, because I had child support saying I had to pay them $68,000 right away, which is why they seized my passport and trying to garnish my and tax returns. But I'm already paying on the arrears. It's just apparently the state decided on its own that I need to pay the entirety of the arrears right away. But that's not true because that's added enforcement on top of the payments.
Right. That's what they doing to me exactly.
Right.
They want me to pay all the arrears. Right.
No, but hold on. The way I do my math, and I'm not like Rick, Brett, and Daylay, but if you owe $30 a month on back pay for 2 years, that's $720, right? Because that's 24 times 30. That's 720. After you paid arrears, after you paid $30 extra for 2 years from the date, you've now made up that. So you've been paying $30 more for, as I do my math, 14 years. So that's 14 years at $360 a month extra. So you've already paid an additional whatever. Somebody got a calculator. What's 360 times 14? You paid that extra money. Am I making sense?
Well,
5,000.
unless they're adding interest on it, that has been a big issue in Minnesota, where because of the interest, there was realistically no way you're going to pay that off in that amount of time.
Yeah, but he's done it now.
Yeah, that was the same thing I was about to bring up. That's the the uh the percentage, man.
Right. I don't know if Florida still does it, but if there is an interest rate added on top of that, that could be where the amount is ballooning from. So it's just like a credit card. If you're only making the minimum payments, you're never going to pay it off.
You'll never catch up, right?
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, I don't. That's kind of strange to me. How you got there. But those are issues that you could definitely raise. Because that's a miscalculation. Period. So what was the amount again? Somebody said it was
$5,040.
And
so already what's being said is it's just not adding up. Like how are they holding your full bank account?
Give me a copy of that.
The amount of arrears are only $5,000, and based on what you're saying, you've been current, every month, so that amount, of course, would be lower. So something's not adding up.
Exactly.
What was the original judgment for arrears? Do you know that?
The original judgment, it was 2 years for the original judgment. So 2 years at $30 for 20.
But there's a raw number. There's a specific number as to what they said we're gonna make you pay $30 in arrears to cover X amount.
Mm-hmm.
The raw. Let me ask you a question. No, ask you a question. If it were me and I were going to come onto this kind of platform and talk to somebody like me, who's also accompanied by guys like Daylay, Rick, the accountant, and Brett, who's a math guy, and I would have brought all that information because it'd be easier to pinpoint exactly what it is. But what's pretty evident is you've been paying $30 a month more for 14 years at minimum. And if there's an interest amount, then they would have to say specifically they're going to tax you on the interest. They can't say, well, we added interest. They can't tell you that in year 9. Well, we added 85% interest the first 3 years. That might be unreasonable. So that's where I would be going if it were me. Get the information so that we can look at it specifically, and from there come up with a better, give you a more, I guess, guided pathway.
Just a heads up, just using a Google machine. In Florida, it says in Florida, the interest rate for child support arrear is at 12% per year.
Yeah, because here in Texas it's at 6%. That's what I was supposed to say too, Dallas, man. It's a percentage automatically on the interest.
Based on what? The interest on what? Who you owe the
On the
interest to?
on the arrears owed to the state if they ever had any type of medical support.
Okay, so now the interest is on what he owes to the state, but we haven't shown that the state is owed anything.
Correct. I'm just saying to the degree that he's still paying on the arrears, even though he's paying $30 per month. He probably hasn't paid it off because of the interest rate.
Wait a minute, what's 12% of 720? You talking about another $72?
Well, we don't know the original judgment for arrears. It would be 12% on that original judgment.
On the arrears, right?
Yeah, per year.
Okay, so you're saying moving forward?
Yeah, every year, 12%, 12%, 12%.
Until it's paid off, though.
Until it's paid off.
Until it's paid off, yeah.
Yeah. So for 14 years, he's had 12% per year on that.
No, only on the interest, only on the back due amount, correct?
No.
You're saying he owed 470 times 24.
No, I'm saying if the original judgment, let's just say, I'm just throwing out a number now, was 10,000 for the arrears in the beginning.
Okay.
It's 12% on that amount until it's paid off per year.
Right, I get that, but he wouldn't have taken, even at $30, it wouldn't have taken him 14 years to get rid of the original judgment amount. Would be he owed. What is it?
But it's on any arrears owed. The interest is on any arrears owed.
Oh,
right. So if there's missed payments as well in there, that would be included, and the interest would be accrued on that amount.
Okay. So if he did anything along the way,
yeah.
I just think that, well, just based on what I'm hearing, us having documents would help us help you a lot more. Accountant Rick, is there anything that we're missing here?
No, I mean, I go back to your point, and it's just, we got to have kind of the facts. What was the starting amount owed in the original case? That's a key factor. And then I think from there, we can put together the rest.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's where I'm at right now, Greg, man. That's what I'm dealing with.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we have a launch point, and again, dealing with making sure next time, for anybody listening, make sure you respond to whatever they send you. And if you don't have the exact idea of what to do, use the Google machine, pull it up, and if you need help at that point, then you can always reach out to me at gdnapsey.com, or we can just wait for our barbershop talk, or if something else comes up along the way, because I think, well, one thing I know we want to start moving toward is helping people deal with the actual courtroom interaction without giving you legal advice if you can't get an attorney to do it. And I just found out for somebody that appellate attorneys can be really expensive. So especially here in this state.
But whatever you do, don't put it back in the mail.
Yeah. Definitely don't put it back in the mail. That's a pathway to a bad result along the way. So I hope that we were able to help you out, George. And again, if nothing else, if it were me, I get the original petition.
Yep.
I would get a copy of the original final judgment.
Okay.
Get it, and I get both of those certified, and I get a copy of the case summary, what we call the docket, if it were me.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm doing that first thing in the morning. I'm going down to the Indian River first thing in the morning.
And I'm pretty sure. Make sure when you get the original petition, the final judgment, also get any accompanying documents that led up to the final judgment, like the copy of her financial affidavit,
Right.
And yours as well, because I'm trying to figure out how they came up with that number.
Right.
And inside the final judgment, they're going to give a summary of how they came to their decision. So just get that information, and we can go with it from there.
Okay. No problem.
Anybody have anything else before I sign off and go and live the life that I was about to walk out the door until you called. I forgot all about barbershop talk. Oh, hold on, we got one more guy coming in. We got Matrix coming in. What's good, Matrix? Anything that you wanted to say before I run off into the streets?
The main thing I would say, hey to everybody. The main thing I would say is just make sure that when you come back with your information, make sure you sign up for that consultation so the team can actually help you. Just having a conversation, it definitely helps you when you got a team of people that can help you.
Correct. Right about that, bro.
No doubt. All right, people. Hey, listen, I appreciate everybody for stepping in and as always imparting. And by the way, I'm glad Rick and Brett are feeling better. Brother Jimmy, I thought was gonna pop on. Pastor Jimmy's gonna hop on, but he's a little bit under. Take care of yourself. Everybody be careful. And as always imparting, sometimes it's not about right or wrong. More importantly, it's about clarity. You never reach resolution if you're not willing to engage in honest dialogue, even if that dialogue is with yourself. Take time to hug the person you love the person you hug. On behalf of GD920 Pro State Consultants, I'm Greg Doss. I'm the infamous DJ Squid. I'm saying peace. I'm saying chicken grease. Hey, don't forget your ladies on Valentine's Day. I'm out of here.